Hello, in this video I will show you how to use and install the word counter plugin. The word counter plugin is under our new update in the Forwala 4.2 update. It basically displays the word count at the bottom right of the editor, and it's updated within each word you add or remove. We also added the ability for you to restrict the number of words a user can input in the editor. Before I show you how to do that, let's dive in first on what are the new things that we added. So in this case, we added two new options. The word counter count, which enables or disables the display of the word counter. Word counter max, it's the number of words allowed to be inserted within Frawala. And we have set it to -1, which means that there has been no limit to be set for yet. One new method, which is word count. It returns a number of words in the editor, and two new events, which adds more functionality within this plugin, which is word counter that exceeded and word counter that update. That exceeded is triggered when the maximum word count is exceeded, and .update is triggered when the user updates the editor content. So the sky is the limit with what you want to do with this. These are very powerful methods and events that you can utilize to make Frawala even more powerful. So how do you use it? As with every plugin, it's either you plug it using the JavaScript inside the Frawala editor when you download it, which we will be doing today, or by CDN, but if you just want to try it yourself. So let's dive into actually coding this. So what we have here is a very basic implementation of Frawala. I installed this using npm. Using npm is just one of the few ways that you can actually install Frawala. You can use it as a CDN as well, and you can also download Frawala and go from there. We have a very detailed documentation page on how you can do that, but for demonstration's sake, we'll focus on npm. So let me just walk you through this. This is the Frawala script that will enable Frawala in this HTML file. I have created a script here that initializes the editor and what the div ID that catches this one. So if I go to a live server here, you can see that the editor is working. Oh, and make sure as well that you have only the core Frawala script enabled. We actually encourage this so your application which would much be faster, and you will only use the plugins that you want to have in your application. So if I want to install the Frawala word counter plugin, I just include it in another script as well here. So I'll just copy that one and paste it here and go and remove this one and go to JS, and all the plugins are inside the plugins folder if you have installed it via npm. But again, you can also install this via CDN. But in this case, we're using plugins. Let's go to plugins, and you can see all the other plugins here. But for this time, we will use the word counter.min.js, save it, and here we need to enable the plugin. So by enabling the plugin, as with every plugin, you use plugins enabled and add what the plugins are. So in our example, we use word counter. And we're not done yet. As you might remember, we need to set this one to true. So word counter count. I'll just type it, word counter count, and set it to true. So if we now go back to our live server, it is now here. So I'm going to type some words, typing more. And as you can see that it automatically updates once I add, and it automatically updates once I remove. So if you want to add more functionality to this, as you might remember, we have word counter max first to set the number of words allowed to be inserted in Forwala. So in this case, we will only add again here word counter max. And for example, you're creating a comment section and you just want like 200 words in this, you set it to 200. And then let's go back to the live server. As you can see, it adds /200 here, signaling that, hey, you can only add 200 words in this editor. And we can test this by, for example, let's just copy this and add some words. As you can see, it only adds up to 196 since I have so many words here, and 1, 2, 3. And I cannot add any more. I can only add up until 200s. But if you want even more functionality than that, we also have the exceeded function and also the update function. How do you do this? Let's go back to the editor and let's set the event to by setting an event and setting the exceeded first. So by doing that, you say word counter dot exceeded and any function that you want here. But for demonstrations purposes, let's just console log something. So let's create a small simple function that logs whenever you have exceeded the word counter. So you have exceeded the number of words allowed. So let's go back again and let's add it here. Go to inspect. You have exceeded the number of words allowed. So as you can see that it's fired back to the console and it's triggered when you have exceeded the number of words allowed. But what if you want to, for example, count the number of words as well? As you may remember, we have a method for this. And let's go back to the editor and change this one to word counter dot word count. And for example, let's go back here. See the number of words. And let's go to console. It automatically fires back when you exceeded something, when you exceeded the threshold of what you set in this one. So let's move on to the update. It's basically the same thing. You just use word counter dot update and set it to whatever you want. So for example, another function here that logs when you update the editor. Console log this. And let's go back to the editor. Let's add some words. And let's go back again to the console. Again, yeah, it adds the events whenever you're doing something, as you can see here. And there you go. The word counter plugin obviously is a very basic implementation as I showed you today, but you can play along with it, play around it, and make sure that your Forwala editor is more secure and you have more control and customizability with it. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask below the comment section, and I'll make sure to answer whatever questions you might have within the word counter plugin or in Ferwala in general. And if you'd like to see more videos of this. Thanks for watching.